FBI officers were deeply troubled by the fact that, in this prison, even if a prisoner was left completely free, he still couldn't escape. Then how did 3 prisoners manage to flee right under the noses of the authorities? The most surprising part was that for the next 10 hours, the prison authorities didn't even get the slightest hint of their escape. Not only the FBI, but 3 of the top-level federal agencies also worked tirelessly to solve this case. We are talking about a prison break that has remained unsolved for the past 60 years and has become one of the greatest mysteries in the world. Once again, welcome viewers. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean lies this small island, spread over just 22 acres, but it once held some of the world's most dangerous criminals. The island was built on a massive rock in the ocean, which is why it was also called the Rock. Surrounded by water on all sides, the island had additional protection, a 15-foot-tall fence built all around it. Along with 24/7 monitoring by prison guards, the location of this island made it even more secure. Being in the open Pacific Ocean, it was constantly surrounded by strong winds and high waves. Considering all these conditions, in 1934 it was declared a federal prison, one of the most secure in the world. In short, once someone entered this prison, escaping on their own was absolutely impossible. The prison had earned a reputation for being inescapable. But on the night of June 12, 1962, this reputation was shattered when 3 prisoners outsmarted the authorities and escaped from Alcatraz. The main characters of this story were these men, John and Clarence Anglin, who were brothers. They were sent here for a bank robbery case. Then there was Frank Morris, who had spent over 13 years in and out of various prisons before ending up in Alcatraz, also for a bank robbery. Lastly, there was Allen West, who had previously attempted to escape from other prisons multiple times, which is why he was finally transferred to Alcatraz, a maximum security facility. Allen West had been at Alcatraz for a long time, and therefore he knew more about the prison structure than anyone else. The idea to escape first came from Allen West in 1960, when he told his fellow inmates about a loophole in Block B that could possibly make an escape feasible. The 4 of them, West, Morris, and the Anglin brothers, used to meet during lunch breaks, but their cells were not originally in the same block. So their first mission was to get transferred to Block B, and after some time, they succeeded. Once all 4 were together in Block B, they quietly worked on their plan for 2 years without anyone suspecting a thing. Then came the morning of June 12, 1962. As usual, at 7 a.m., the prison staff went to wake the inmates. During the roll call, they discovered that 3 prisoners were missing. When the guards checked their cells, they found Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers apparently sleeping in their beds. But when they went inside to wake them, they discovered something shocking. The men on the beds were dummy heads made of soap, plaster, and cement, with real human hair attached. Yes, the 3 prisoners had already escaped. One of the dummy heads had even fallen and broken on the floor, a detail visible in photos. The sight left the entire prison staff in shock. They believed the prisoners couldn't possibly have left the island and immediately launched a full-scale search across the island, but there was no trace of them. Everyone was haunted by a single question. How did not 1, but 3 prisoners manage to escape from the world's most secure prison? Remember, one man, Allen West, was not among the escapees. Though the plan had been his idea, he had failed to make it out of his cell in time. When the FBI arrived and began investigating, they found that all 3 escapees had dug through the vent holes at the back of their cells. But the surprising part was that there weren't 3, but 4 damaged vent holes, the 4th belonging to Allen West's cell, who failed to break through completely. Realizing he had no chance of escape now, Allen West decided to cooperate and told investigators everything about the plan. According to him, the dummy heads had been made by mixing soap, cement, and plaster, and the hair used on them had been stolen from the prison's barbershop. Each of the 4 cells had a small vent about 5 by 9.5 inches. West, having worked in prison maintenance, knew the structure well. The wall behind the vents was only 6 inches thick and could be widened. Over 6 months, they carefully scraped around the vents using stolen spoons from the kitchen. Eventually, they even made a drill using a motor from a vacuum cleaner. They would hide their work with musical instruments or other objects, and did most of the digging during music hour when the prison was loud. Behind the vents was an unguarded corridor that led to a drain pipe, which went up to the roof. Because these men often worked on maintenance duty on the roof, they used this opportunity to study every possible escape route. From the roof, they climbed down a pipe and crossed the 15-foot-high fence, finally making their way out. They had already prepared everything. Using rubber raincoats issued by the prison, they stitched together a makeshift inflatable raft and even made life jackets to stay afloat in the cold water. But for the FBI, the biggest mystery remained. Where were the prisoners now? According to Alan West, the plan was to paddle their raft north from Alcatraz to Angel Island, then reach the mainland where security was minimal. From there, they were to steal a car and clothes to blend in. But after extensive searching around all nearby islands and coastal areas, no stolen car or robbery was ever reported. It seemed as though the ocean had swallowed them whole. Some investigators even suspected that Alan West's story was fabricated to mislead the FBI. Yet, evidence from the roof and the workshop area confirmed his account. Footprints and tool marks matched his version of events. The Coast Guard, Bureau of Prisons, and U.S. Marshals Service joined the search, but no prisoners, no raft, and no life jackets were ever found. Then, a few days later, a wooden paddle washed ashore, believed to be from their raft. Later, 2 waterproof bags made from raincoats were also found, containing personal items like photographs and letters. Investigators concluded that the prisoners likely drowned, as these were personal items no one would abandon willingly. Normally, dead bodies would float to the surface within days, but no bodies or remains were ever found. Some theories suggest that the men did reach the mainland. In 1962, after the escape, the FBI kept close watch on the Anglin family. One of their nephews, David Widner, told the FBI that before his death, the Anglin brothers' older brother had told the family that John and Clarence were alive and in contact. Several family members even reported that on special occasions, 2 women in strange makeup would visit their home, whom they believed were John and Clarence in disguise. After that, they were never seen again. About 15 years later, a cousin of the Anglin brothers claimed to have seen them in Brazil, even capturing a photo of them in a local club. Their family firmly believed that these were indeed the Anglin brothers, but U.S. Marshals investigators stated that the facial structures did not perfectly match. That was the last time anyone ever claimed to see them alive. Since then, their whereabouts remain a mystery. The following year, Alcatraz was officially shut down. In 1979, after years of unsuccessful investigation, even the FBI officially closed the case. Now, only the U.S. Marshals Service continues to keep the case open, and it will remain open until the prisoners are either found or confirmed dead. Today, Alcatraz Island has been turned into a national park, open for tourists, where visitors can see the same cells in Block B where, 60 years ago, the Anglin brothers, Frank Morris, and Alan West were once imprisoned. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for your love and support. See you again in the next thrilling video.